Let's go. Let's go, man. Hunt the ball. Let's go, family on three. 1, 2, 3, family.
Hello, football family. Welcome into Huddle It Up Films NFL Draft Barbecue. Big board questions with my man, Randy. I guess Dolph is your name now, Randy. This is at ZZ Godspeed on Twitter. So your Twitter link will be... Yeah, what's Dolph. Going on with the Dolph, bro?
Hey, that's a part of my name. My name is Randolph. Used to get a little bit of ribbon in middle school for that, but Randolph, Dolph, Twan, ZZ Godspeed. Call me whatever you like. It's all good.
You actually came up with a nickname for me, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. Would you like to share this? Would you like to share this with the family?
For now on, Ravens flock. Jason goes by J Boogie with the hoodie.
Yeah,
J Boogie with the hoodie.
Giving a shout out to Patapsco High School today. Son's a Patapsco guy, so I got his name on the back, dad on the back. So try to go out and support the rival school, man. That's like if your son went and played for the Steelers, Randy. That's kind of how that is around this part of town. So it's a little awkward having these colors on, but when your son goes there, you support family, bro.
Yep. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't go to Dundalk.
Yeah, he didn't, but you know what? He's got some talents, and Patapsco's a magnet school. So he got to go there on his art ability, and the young man's a kind of a genius when it comes to art. Also a gymnast, bro. Backflips, all kinds of stuff. So he's gonna be good in college. He's a very private guy. So the youngest one I don't talk about a lot because he don't talk about himself a lot, but still proud papa. So Randy, you have seen the show. You know what I'm gonna ask you, right? What is the Dolph? How does the Dolph barbecue? What is the Dolph doing? What is your vibe? What is your mood? Who are you at the barbecue, Randy?
I'm low key. I'm the quiet one. I don't say much. I just observe. I need some beef. I need some steak. Give me one plate. Make sure we got like some jungle juice. A stronger drink. Just make sure the vibes are flowing. I'm just a relaxing guy. I'm not never too high, never too low in that situation. So I'm just relaxing, kicking back with the folks, chilling.
Well, you know what they say. It's always the quiet ones you have to worry about, Randy.
Hey, man. Don't pick on me. Don't pick on
me. The ladies, man. Randy. I like the Dolph, though, bro. I actually like Dolph. I think that's cool. I'm gonna have to start calling you Dolph from now on, although I've been calling you ZZ Godspeed Randy for so long, but it might have to – hopefully that'll catch on faster than J Boogie with the hoodie. So I just wanted to repeat that slow and try to make it sound awkward. So, Randy, a lot of thoughts on this draft. I know you follow it. I've been following you on Twitter. Follow Randy on Twitter. His links will be below. So kick us off, man, here at the barbecue. Who you thinking about? Who you been talking about, man?
All right, so I'm diving deep into the bag. I'm going to a school that is predominantly run heavy, as we are as the Ravens organization. So I would like to see them try to take a look at Daniel Bellinger, tight end, San Diego State. Really, like you said, like we talked about earlier, Jason, really strong functional strength. I think he's pretty much maxed out what he'll be in the NFL. Senior, and the Ravens like the seniors. What really stuck out to me is like how well he ran at the combine. So I went back and looked at some of the tape, and he reminds me of Nick Boyle in the sense that probably coming out of Delaware, Nick Boyle could improve as a receiver. But you can teach that. You can work around that. Being able to block, stay in front of your man. You don't have to pancake him into the ground every time, but just being strong at the point of attack. I thought all of those things were strengths of him and of his. And then when I saw him run, a really good time. I'm not sure where Jelani Woods ended up, but a 4.63. Let me see, 4.63.
Yeah, it's about Mark Andrews fast, just to compare. He's 40 time.
I mean, even the body type, 6'5", 250, 4.63, 22 reps. His 3-cone, I'm looking at it right now. And Jason, I'm huge on 3 cones. I believe in the 3-cone drill. It's a 7.05. So he has some functional strength to go with. He'll probably be underestimated athletically on the field. First go around. So
Yeah,
I like
he
him.
was a he was a high recruit, Randy, and ended up at San Diego State. So I don't know what he fell victim of in the recruiting
Okay.
process, but I read somewhere that he was highly recruited. This San Diego State program, Randy's really
Yeah.
kind of surprising me with the prospects they have. I've watched more of their games the last 2 years than
Hmm.
probably the last 10 years combined. But Bellinger, what I like about him is his flexibility. You mentioned Boyle, and I actually see him as like because he's got plenty of snaps in the Boyle role at wide tight end. You see him be able to pass block, which is great. He can help if they bring a blitzer and they keep him in to pass block. He blocks like a tackle compared to other tight ends. And then also you see him on the move a lot, which is as Ravens fans, man, we see this all the time. So he's
Hmm.
moving in motion. He can block as a fullback. He can block on the move. You can line him up. So it's not just that, okay, this guy can block. It's that
Right.
he can do everything as a blocker, kind of like what we see with Nick Boyle. So I see what you're going with the comparison. Now, my question for you, I barely don't have him on my board. He was one of the guys I looked at really heavily. And
Okay.
one more thing I wanted to add for him. The combine really impressed me, and it wasn't the 40 time.
Hmm.
I don't know if you watched it or remembered, but with him being, his last name starts with a B, Bellinger. He was like one of the first ones up in like all the drills.
Right.
And you know how they got problems with the blocking sled at first? Well, they'll have too much weights on it, or it won't slide, or whatever. So all these guys were struggling moving this thing before they reset the sled and got it right. Bellinger, dude, so low, such leg drive. I mean, he looked like the most polished blocker out there in those drills, which, I mean, they're just drills, but when I add it to the tape, it makes sense, man. He does well in the drills. He does well on the field, really under control. My concerns with him are why I don't have him on the board yet, but he's right on there. He might make the board by the end. Is that I think he's maxed out in size because he's
Hmm.
built, like you mentioned, he's built. This is not a sloppy athlete. So
Yeah.
he's 6'5", 253, and I'm worried that he might not be able to be big, strong enough to handle or the Jadeveon Clowneys and the Myles Garretts or whoever, TJ Watts at the next level. So I see him more like a fullback role. Do you think he can stick at wide tight end and block in line? Is that a concern for you?
So I hear your concerns. So the first thing I would push back on is not many tight ends can deal with the guys you named. I mean, they can chip them. They can send help, to help with with the tackle. But it's those guys. You gotta bring more than one person at that guy. But I would say this, and I mentioned in the beginning what drew me to, and you said you watched San Diego State. Like, I'm not sure we have any San Diego State fans out there, but they are a very run heavy team. Surprisingly, being out in San Diego, you think they would like to pass the ball, throw it around a lot. They want to run the ball. So, I think whoever gets him is going to be fine with where his level is at as far as just being a competent, respectable inline blocker. And the 40 drill, he has some, like I said, he has some sneaky athleticism. And I just go back to, I don't know if he obviously he's probably he doesn't Hayden Hurst's body type, but I've spoken to you about this. I just want to see them lock down something behind Mark Andrews, because if he goes down, then we are,
Yeah.
So if it's Jelani Woods and Daniel Bellinger, I was going to call him Cody Bellinger, Daniel Bellinger, then I would like to see us, fortify ourselves, and then what is Nick Boyle making $7 million this year? This is last year, so I would
Yeah.
just say grab that guy, whoever it is, man. Chiggs from Maryland. I just want a strong tight end that can be versatile in the passing game, as well as like protect for Lamar and help open up these lanes for our backs.
Yeah, and something that I think is a plus of Bellinger is his hands. I've seen him make some good catches, and then I went back to see his highlights just to see if he had more of those kind of catches that I saw when I was watching the game tape. And you see those contested catches and strong hands. So I believe hands will be a plus for him at the next level. So another thing in his favor, I mean, he only had like 11 and a half yards per catch this year. So he was kind of used in that short role that you saw with Okonkwo of Maryland. So, but yeah, on the tight end discussion, Randy, last words on this. I'm itching for that third tight end too, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking at those mid rounds guys that I really like Cade Otton and Jeremy Ruckert, all the guys in that range. Like I want to grab one of those guys because, I mean, you know, whether fans like it or whether they don't like it, Greg Roman's offense operates at a high level when he has, you know, tight ends at his disposal that he can do different things with. So
Yeah.
whether we like it or not, having a Hayden Hurst type on this team would help us. And, you know, part of the reason Bellinger not being on my list is because I figure we're going to grab one of these guys in like the third or fourth round. Would you predict that too? Or do you think that's a reach for need?
I'm okay with double dipping that tight end, honestly. I am. I mean, maybe they like Josh Oliver, but I'm okay with waiting later because every single mock I do, it seems like there's value to grab a tight end with a certain trait that will fit. Like he's not a complete player, but that trait could translate to our offense. I think we spoke about the UCLA tight end as well. Someone that could. I mean, he's a big, strong guy as well. So I mean, if we take Jelani Woods early, then I'm fine with not doing it anymore. Like, hey, we took who many believe is probably gonna be the best tight end in the draft. You know.
Yeah, it's a pretty good year for tight ends. You got McBride, Dulcich.
Trey McBride.
I'm a big Cade Otton fan. He's my positional favorite. I don't think he's getting enough love. Jeremy Ruckert, Isaiah Likely. So I'm feeling the tight end in that round. I hope the Ravens kind of go for a third tight end because, like you said, something happens to Andrews. We don't have a guy like that. So I want a guy that can handle himself in the blocking game, but is also, can be a weapon. Obviously, he won't be Mark Andrews, but it can help us out in the pass game too. So Randy, good discussion on somebody nobody's brought up on the barbecue. This is why I need Dolph, bro. Need some variety here, man. We got Daniel Bellinger conversation on the show. Where are you going next, man? Who are you thinking about?
All right, so I guess I'm gonna go in order. I'm gonna talk about Jalen Petrie, another West Coast school, Baylor. I like Petrie because his versatility. He may be the most versatile. It seems to me he may be the most versatile defensive back in the whole draft. That's my opinion on that. I think he played inside, outside linebacker, both safety positions, some slot corner, and he's rangy. He can move from side to side. He's very, very good laterally. He performed well. It seems like all these guys are performing well at the combine at this point. They train so well that so at that point, just seeing if the tape matches up with what you see at the combine, right? That's what they say.
That's right.
I think his tape may be the selling point for him. It's just like, he's just all around the ball, short tackler, which matters. I think, he's a short tackler. They don't put you at inside line. And I mean, he has like a Chuck Clark type of traits where he could, study under him. We got Brandon Stevenson, we got Marcus Williams. Maybe we re-sign Chuck in the year, but I'm still interested in seeing what type of safety robber type positionless defensive back can play in the slot. If we got to go against Travis Kelce, then maybe it's Brandon Stevenson. But if we want to, if it's Keenan Allen in there, maybe we like someone that's a little more strong and physical. Right. Just being versatile. That position along with the dime linebacker, we could the middle of the field, even with Marcus Williams being a deep center guy, I still feel like they can find some versatile athletes to patrol and slow that stuff down. And I think he's a perfect candidate for that.
Me too. You see how high I have him on my board there, Randy. I'll flash it up on the screen. Number 41, the first guy in the orange section. So the guys in the purple, Randy, are guys that I think could go in the first round. I don't think Petrie, just because of the way the league will value him, will select him in the first round. So I got him as first man up in that next tier. I mean, that's how much I love him. I got him right there with Logan Hall and Phildarian Mathis and Bernard Ryman. So I love Jalen Petrie for a lot of reasons. You mentioned his tackling. That's one. You mentioned his versatility. That's definitely another one. And then, you notice I have safety / cornerback under his label. I mean, like you mentioned, he can play slot. So when you have a Brandon Stevens, who's more of a big slot, you want to match him with somebody else, like you said, a Keenan Allen, a route runner, or a smaller, quicker guy. You need a smaller slot too. So Brandon Stevens, there's going to be guys that he matches up really well against. Then there's other guys that could give him problems. So having a defensive back like Petrie in the rotation would just be great. I love the Chuck Clark comparison, by the way. A lot of similarities in their brain and their toughness, their versatility. Petrie is just a natural football player. And then in the pre-draft process, when I was scouting him, Randy, it was the tape, it was the Senior Bowl, then it was the Combine. And this man went 3 for 3. And I'm talking, he was hitting doubles and home runs the whole time. So I look at him as an extremely clean prospect, somebody who will stay in the NFL. Randy, he'll get a second contract. You will find receivers. You will find a role for him. Positionless defense. You're speaking my language here.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of for one, let's talk on the Senior Bowl. I think the next guy we're going to talk about was at the Senior Bowl. I'll withhold his name till we get there, but Jalen Petrie was there. Who else? I mean, the Senior Bowl to me is like the biggest showcase for some of these guys that maybe had a down year or had to do 4 years, because a lot of these GMs, they like to get the younger 20, 21 to 22-year-old guys. So when you stay that extra year and a half or 2 years, it's kind of it dings you. So the fact that he went there, put his best foot forward, I think like Darius Washington last year at the Senior Bowl, I think that really solidified him to be on our roster, and he's on the roster at the moment. So just being able to find, like you said, versatile players. We can never have enough DBs, man. We saw it last year. We saw it, I guess it was 2014.
Our whole history, basically, right?
We can never have enough. I'm a DB, man. Brandon Stevenson is basically my favorite player at this point on the team. He ran a 21. I just love the DBs because I think they can change the game in one play. So just getting more athletic freaks or athletic specimens that can actually cover ground and shore tacklers, cover ground and tackle. And Petrie does both of those things really well.
And I don't want to shortchange him. He's 5'11", so it's not like Petrie's some 5'8", 5'7". He can handle some bigger targets. It's not that he can't, but he's got those oily hips, man. Change of direction. He's a little stocky, you know what I mean? So he can tackle well. He's a guy you could put in and around the box, and I think would be perfect in the NFL. I mean, could you move him outside? Probably. There's probably some receivers out there he could cover, but he makes sense. A good fit with Marlon and Marcus on the outside. Big cornerbacks. Stevens could play on the outside. Another big cornerback. We're probably going to need somebody that can play in the slot. So when I look at Petrie, it's just a good fit, good football player. He's ready to play. Any kind of format you throw him in. Like, Randy, I think if you put, like, these top 50 guys out here in Baltimore right now and put them in the field, Petrie would be ready to play that game, know what he's doing, and you'd want to pick him early. Like, he's ready, bro. He's ready to roll. He's ready to play football. So, Jalen Petrie, number 41 on the list. Any last thoughts on Petrie, or did you want to move to our next guy?
Yeah, let's go to the next guy, because the next guy is very intriguing. JT Woods.
So can I get my little thing on him first?
Yes, go ahead. Do your thing.
Okay, so JT Woods, physical freak, ran a 4.36.
Physical.
He's got 9 interceptions in his career. It wasn't all last year, of course, but guys make plays. So here's my comparison, Randy. Now, I do have JT Woods on my list. He is number 121. So I'm looking like 4th round, you know what I mean? Yep. And then another thing that's holding these safeties back on my board, by the way, is the fact that it's probably our best room. So if we needed a safety, JT Woods would be way higher than 121. He'd be in that get him on day 3 guys. So I want to make that clear from my board. I like him better than what my board would indicate just because of need. Here's my player comp though. So I'll give you something good to respond to. He is a Patrick Queen-esque player at safety. Yes.
Splash plays, is that what you're going with? Like this?
And the opposite. So you're going to get big plays. He will run himself into a play. He will run himself out of the play. He will just hammer somebody on a tackle, and then he'll whiff on a tackle. So it's that uneven play is why I don't have him in like the 2nd round range or something, because you look at his physical skills and his stats and all that stuff, and it screams like you need a guy like this on the team. So there's a lot of great things to say about him. I'm sure you're going to say a bunch. So I wanted to give like what was holding me on the board and why I have him where I have him. So go ahead, take it away on Mr. Woods.
Yeah. So from what I've understood about him, he had a really good week at the Senior Bowl as well. And as I stated last year, I remember I saw Dav's video and you guys spoke about that's what they do. I would not be surprised. I mean, Eric DeCosta wanted Brandon Jones from Miami. He took Brandon Stevens. This is a very similar player. 6'1", 6'2", 200 pounds. I think he ran former track player, former track star. He's a project. And like to your point, we have people. I still think they should take a safety.
Okay.
I still think they should take a safety just because you know what you got for Marcus Williams. But what do we really know about Chuck Clark in 2 to 3 years or Geno Stone or Darius Washington? Brandon Stevenson is obviously on his 2nd year, still on his rookie contract. So, we'll see. So just another physical, and Eric DeCosta has been taking these physical freaks, just another positionless. I wasn't a fan of his deep ball. I wasn't a fan of, even though he had some interceptions, I thought his instincts weren't as polished off, or he knew what he wanted to do.
He does it with pure speed. Pure speed.
It's not right. So he's just beating people to the ball. He's just, instead of like, he knows it's going there, so I'm gonna beat him to the spot. So you kind of can see that. So I think it's perfect for him to sit behind, even Geno, just be a special teams ace. And to your point, like you have him ranked 121 with all those 4th round picks. Unless someone gets, happy and get him in like the late compensation of the 3rd round, area of the 3rd round. And
that's what I was going to ask you. Don't you think like a team will jump on him because he's so big and he has a 4.36 and all this?
I very well can see that. I very well can see like everything you said with what they believe he could be. Like, hey, some people like, hey, we all we gotta do is coach him up on this and that and that. They believe in their coaching so much that we can coach anything up. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went at like 110, just based off of his production as far as taking the ball away, and then Senior Bowl, and then running like a 4.3 at the combine. It's like, I mean, I wouldn't knock anyone for doing that.
I got you, man. Yeah, it was funny. I probably would have had him a little higher, but his combine bugged the heck out of me, Randy. It was like I think he was nervous. If I had to guess. Who knows?
He did really well. Oh, you mean the positional stuff?
The field drills. It was like hands like feet, and then like he would drop a ball and like say a bad word out loud. He looked like he was putting like a little too much pressure on himself. So yeah, but anyway, Randy could have just been a bad day, bro. You know what I mean? We all have them, but we have plenty of game tape to go on, and of course Baylor is not a Ferris State or whatever. There's plenty of tape out there. JT Woods doing his thing. So yeah, so you're more of a fan than me than adding another safety. What would you be looking for if I said, all right, Randy, you're not going to get the perfect safety, of course. What kind of skills would you be looking for this 5th safety? Because we got Tony Jefferson too. Like Jefferson and Clark will be in the box. Marcus Williams and Stone will be on the back end. So what would be, other than special teams, what would be like, what kind of safety are you looking for to add to that room?
It would be nice because pretty much everyone you named except Marcus Williams is naturally box type players. It would be nice to find someone that could, grow under Marcus Williams as another rangy ball hawking safety. And if you last year, I really hoped that was going to be the case for Brandon Stevens. And all 22 films actually dropped something today about that. And it was like, I started watching some of the film. I'm like, I don't know if that's going to be him. I don't
It's
know
just
if
a big leap, bro. It's a
he's
big
just,
leap.
yeah.
I remember, me and you talk all the time, but talking during the season, you're asking me what I'm seeing on the 22, and it's just like, Brandon Stevens went from running back to cornerback to all of a sudden the free safety and Winks defense.
Right.
And so, like, I have to be
Yeah.
I have to be really careful with how I talk about Brandon Stevens, because I love him, dude. I love him. I think his attitude, his natural ability, all that is there. But when people were saying, well, he's our free safety next year, I was the guy saying, go get Honey Badger, go get Marcus Williams, because that's a big jump to ask for Brandon Stevens, bro. Like, your free safety, as you know, Randy, from your playing days, that takes a lot of brain work. I mean, I was a free safety, you know what I mean? So you better have somebody that knows what they're doing back there. I can't even compliment myself, bro. I didn't even get a smile out of that one. What happened to us?
Hey, man, I was going to say I play receiver, so I've been in the I've been in those situations where I almost got my head taken off by a safety. So
yeah,
I respect the hell out of you guys. You guys are the last line of defense, man. So that's what it's about, being the last line of defense. I'm a pinpoint a play that the second Cincy game in Cincy, we were down one score, and Joe Barrow, first of all, we missed a sack, and Joe Barrow just threw it up, and it fell between Anthony Averett and Brendan Stevens. And Anthony Averett played it really well. He played outside leverage. Brendan Stevenson's ball skills, it didn't correlate at that point. And T. Higgins caught a pass a couple plays down. They scored. They go to half. Then they get the ball back. So they get the ball, instead of getting the ball back with a one score advantage, they get the ball back with a 2-score advantage to start the second half. So that's that's for me is why I will fully admit that maybe Brandon Stevens is not going to be a sideline free safety. I wanted to see a 6'1", 205, 210-pound free safety in our lineup that could just clean everything up. But we got it now. We got Marcus Williams. So to answer your question, I would like to see a guy who can have those same traits. And I'm trying to think who that is. Like, I'm trying to think. Maybe you can help me out. Who's a later round guy?
The guy I like is Joseph.
From
West
Virginia?
No,
Illinois.
He's Illinois. Yeah, I just love his ability to be a guy in the back end, and that's why he's my starred player there. The Brian Cook from Cincinnati, I think, provides some value. But Randy, let's face it, it's hard to find free safeties, which is why I wanted to buy one this offseason.
Yeah.
But Brandon Stevens, man, he deserves respect. He's been moved around a lot, asked to do a lot, and I think he's going to shine this year, Randy. If you just ask him to cover people, just be like, look, here's the tight end, lock him down. Brandon Stevens has got that. So take away all this wink pre-snap stuff that we see and just simplify things, make it easy on Brandon Stevens. He'll do us good. But yeah, you're looking for another free safety. You don't think as much of Geno Stone's free safety skills as I do. See, I kind of like Stone on the back end, even though he's built like a strong safety.
I was impressed with his one interception though.
Yeah,
that was
he takes good angles and has good instincts. He's just not, his physical skills, I think, are more like a free or a strong safety. You know what I mean? It's just he's a little clunky, a little bit stocky. He's not the most rangy guy, even though he's got good instincts. So
what I worry about with him is that it seems like people can outrun his angles to the ball. I could just see him someone beating him to the angle where he doesn't have that actual opportunity to make the tackle. So I don't know. I'm not really sure about his long term. I think he'd probably be a really good special teams player for us, but I would rather our backup to Marcus Williams probably be a more explosive,
dynamic type guy. Yeah. Got you, Randy. So, man, we're doing really good here. We went through Bellinger, Petrie, Woods. I want to bring up a guy that, because we've talked about him on the program, kind of
Yeah.
like not a lot, but pretty much a lot. Everybody here at the barbecue is talking about this guy. So if we end up picking him, I'm going to be like, he was a barbecue favorite. How's that for marketing, Randy? Pretty good marketing, right?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
So it's Marcus Jones out of Houston, the Tavon Young clone, bro.
Yeah.
I want to ask you from this angle now. We haven't. I've spent a lot of time, and others have spent a lot of time on this show praising Marcus Jones. So I'm not going to go over all of it, but ace return guy, ball skills out the yin yang, small guy,
Great ball skills.
Quickness. He is a Tavon Young clone, just a faster version, Randy, a faster version of Tavon.
Tavon Young was Tavon Young was fast coming out of Temple.
Yeah, but I think this guy's got a little more juice. If I had to guess, he didn't run the 40, so we don't know. So I'm going to ask you about my concern. You know what I mean? Okay. So Tavon, the Ravens aren't going to be afraid to draft him, I don't think, because they drafted Tavon and then they signed Tavon. It wasn't just they drafted him. But let's face it, Randy, Tavon did get hurt, and Marcus Jones has got some banged up stuff in college. So am I being too optimistic when I say, hey, if the Ravens liked Tavon enough to draft him and sign him, they'll like Marcus Jones? Or you think that injuries to Tavon could scare him away from a player like that, or is that just overthinking it?
I think they'll, knowing how they do things, if the medical staff clears them, they'll keep them on the board. So if they don't ever take him, then they may have, we'll never know. But if they take him, then they clearly believe that his medicals check out. I don't think they're going to take a guy, because you're going to have to get him in like the third round, early third round.
That's where I got him, third round guy.
Yeah, so I would say, if they believe that he's healthy and can play, then I don't have any issues with it. I would prefer them to take someone that's going to be durable. So taking an injury prone guy, it doesn't make sense. So if the medicals check out, I think we're good to go.
So I have him kind of high, Randy, on my board as I flash up on the screen. Number 70 there. He's the second guy I have in the blue. So there's guys in the orange, Randy, and for everybody at home, guys in the orange are people that I gave second round grades to. Huge number this year. I've been cutting it down a little bit. I now have 68 guys that I would give a true second round grade. Huge compliment to this class and just the result of the COVID of last year. Marcus Jones, you see him, man. Number 70, right around guys like Drake Jackson and James Cook and Alec Pierce and Kobe Bryant and some nice names in this draft. Yes. How do you think I have him ranked? What do you think about my ranking of him, Randy? Is it too high, too low? Because I feel like from a couple of things you said there, I'm inferring that you think I'm a little high on him, or like, would you have him lower, or where are we going with this?
So the reason why I think he may fall is just like Tavon Young, like based off of production and film, based off what he did on the field, he should be higher. But because of the things that these GMs and these scouts love, size, bigger, stronger, those type of things, get in the way of the film sometimes. So if I actually tweeted him. I didn't tweet at him, but he's felt me, and he actually like 4 months ago I said we need to get Marcus Jones and he liked it. Him and his mom liked it, and for one, I think we need to get him because he's a plug and play. I think we can plug and play him against those smaller. I don't know where T.Y. Hilton is, but smaller, just shifty. T.Y. Hilton is prime type players, like just smaller, shifty guys. And then the other element to it is he could be our punt return. Even I know Duvernay is really good, but
this guy's a different level.
He's a different level. I would still keep Duvernay on kick return, but punt return because I trust his boss, because I trust his ability to bring it in. And Harbaugh, he'd rather you catch the ball than run it back and and fumble it every now and then. He'd rather the secure, fair catch. Honestly,
yeah. Aunt Randy, can I jump in here?
Yes, sir.
Duvernay struggled early, in my opinion, on fair catches or letting the ball bounce inside the 10. There was it was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, he got it together.
He got it together, right? But as far as like the trust factor you're talking about, you inspired me to say that.
Yeah.
Marcus Jones, I've seen these decisions in the few games that I watched of him, just really good. And I like your idea of leaving the explosive, physical explosive Duvernay on kick returns
Yes.
and preserve Marcus from them big hits, to whereas he can just fair catch if if he's in trouble and just make good decisions as a punt returner. So I kind of like that. But you know what? It's kind of hard to take Dante Hall or Devin Hester off the kick return team too. So it's a good argument on both sides there, man. Like this guy is something else. Yeah.
We need playmakers, and that was a big thing in season. Anyone who follows my page, I was screaming at the TV all year because I'm like, everything's not going to go to plan. We got injured. Plays were missed. Roman made a terrible play call. The route schemes are trash. But at a certain point, who's going to make a play?
Right.
And I think Marcus Williams is a guy that we can look to in week 3. Like, yo, we need this. He'll make a play. MP will make a play. Hopefully, Marlowe's he tweeted he's trying to get back to that top 5. He's gonna make a play. We had no one, and look at whenever Duvernay did something big, it was like, yo, we needed that, like a nice 25-yard punt return, or he breaks down the sideline on a kick return for 45 yards. Now we have midfield. Those things get lost in the shuffle, but players make plays. Who's gonna make a play that can change our fortune? And I think Marcus Jones is going to make some splash plays where it's going to be like, okay, that was huge. We may not hear again from Marcus Jones for the rest of the game, but that one play was huge. He's always around the football, man. He's always around the football.
Always around the football, plays bigger than his 5'8" size or whatever
like
it is. Just like Tavon, man. But yeah, so I've rambled on about him a lot. I'm glad to get your perspective on this. And, my last word on Marcus Jones is I'd like to keep Marlon on the boundary in one spot.
Really?
And let him get back to that Pro Bowl form. Randy, I feel like we just wore this man out. We gave him too much to do. Randy, go take out the trash. Randy, open the dishes. It's like Marcus or Marlon was like, in a relationship.
What more can I do?
What more can I do, honey? You know what I mean? I'm doing
Never
everything
good
I can
enough.
around the house. Yeah, change the baby, take out the trash, do this, clean this up.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like what happened to Marlon Humphrey last year before he got hurt. And I mean, Marlon had some good tape. You can see my highlights of him. It's not like Marlon was some scrub out there. He just had a bad game, and I think he was stretched beyond. So I want that slot corner, Randy, is what I'm saying. It's part of where I'm like a little lower on Sauce and Stingley, not because they're not great, but because I'd rather have that outside linebacker in some cases, that defensive end, because of Sauce and Stingley are just talented outside corners. You don't want to move them to the slot either. So give me my slot corner, man. Give me my Petrie or give me a Marcus Jones. I'm glad you brought those guys up. So, Randy, we have time for one more, man. And I want to pick out a guy that I haven't talked about much. Old Debonair Dev, when he was on here, he brought him up. A clunky, hand-in-the-dirt guy. I'm going back to that yellow range or orange. I keep saying yellow. I think I'm going colorblind over here, bro. Number 67 on my board, Sam Williams. I have outside linebacker / D end for him because he reminds me a lot of these bigger outside linebackers the Ravens have put in the game. Go all the way back to like a Courtney Upshaw, but Sam Williams is more athletic.
Let's go further. Jarrett Johnson.
Pernell McPhee, even Za'Darius with that inside out. So if you're looking for a comparison, those are the type of players or how he would fit with the Ravens. I didn't see him, Randy, stand up and drop into coverage or anything like that. So he's not a Judon or a Bowser type. He's more of that hand in the dirt. You stick him on the quarterback's blind side, and maybe on passing downs or 3rd and 12, you scoot him inside over a guard, let him beat up a guard. But this is one rugged player, bro. He is a rugged, hard charging, hard hands, just a guy that makes it a long day at the office if you're trying to block him.
So I didn't know this guy ran a 4.46. I'm gonna be honest.
Crazy.
I didn't know that
because he's clunky. He's clunky on the field. Like that's what I said. I was like hand in the dirt, clunky guy. So he like Leo Chanel at the linebacker position, where if you put him in a straight line, he's fast as lightning. But if you get him like side to side and the Euro steps and these other stuff pass rushers are doing, that's just not him, man. He's going to beat you up with his hands and his force. Like that that 40 time, I think, translates into his bull rush. Like he can translate speed to power really well. So sorry, man. I always have these thoughts to interrupt people. I gotta stop doing it, bro. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So, a few of the edges that stick out to me are, I like the guys who can win at the point of attack. I like the guys that we draft that can play on first and second down. So this is a guy that he may take him some time to actually be on the field for passing downs. Maybe just sparingly at first, but he's him like Oweh. And I think Harbaugh, I don't know who mentioned it, but they mentioned about Oweh. They like the fact that we can just on first and second down we can say go set a mean edge and push everything back inside to Michael Pierce and Matabuke and Josh Bonds and Patrick Queen coming downhill to clean it up. So for me, that's what sticks out, is that he's just strong at the point of attack. Another big 6'4", 6'3", 265 pound, I don't know, 265 pound guys who we can never have enough edges in the corners. I want to be the big bully on the block. We need to push people back. I'm not here to be getting any finesse games. I want to see people get dominated. So I don't need any 230 pound outside linebackers, 240 Noah Spence type guys. I want to see bigger, and that's what we take. So a guy that can actually like you said, turn speed into power, push the pocket, he has very strong hands. Yeah. I've seen that on some film. And at the end of the day, I know some people don't look at it that way, but I mean, the guy played in the the best conference in America, for a really good team in Mississippi. So he's a respectable guy. We could use another with Tyus Bowser coming back. We could use another bigger physical guy to go along with Oweh.
And yeah, and Randy, I think you're well, maybe you're not, but maybe you're shortcutting him on his ability to move inside as a sub rusher, because he's got that, man. I think that like Karlaftis is heavier than him. But when you look at play strength between Sam Williams and Karlaftis, you would say, man, Sam Williams is heavier, stronger, whatever, than Karlaftis. Like, this guy punches above his weight is what I'm trying to say. It's not a knock on Karlaftis. It's just the fact that I have confidence in this guy, like from year one, especially with all these like little pesky outside zone teams that are running, where you have these lighter centers and lighter left guards and that kind of thing. I could see Sam Williams giving them a hell of a day, because some of the best tape I saw Sam Williams was against Charles Cross. And and if you know Cross's game, just for anybody who doesn't, Charles Cross is really athletic as a tackle. He's a pass protector. His like only weakness is his anchor and handling power. And when I saw Sam Williams give Cross problems, I'm like, whoa, if he can give a guy like Charles Cross problems with his power, he is going to give other NFL players problems with his power.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to expect out of him. Like, consistent pass rush. I know he did well for himself in SEC, like I stated, but just a bigger, I want to get bigger bodies. Obviously they are getting guys that's going to go earlier than him, that's going to garner more attention. But I thought he played outside linebacker really well in the SEC.
There you go.
And like that's kind of enough for me, because I mean, like you said, Courtney Upshaw, like that was underwhelming, I feel like, for some people, but he's just like a lunch pail. We're just going to work. Let's do what we're expected to do. And
and I had this conversation with Ken McCusick, Randy, because he was talking about how the 5 tech is going away, because basically, not to get into real technical, but when a team puts 3 receivers on the field, so that 11 personnel, the 5 tech kind of goes away, because you're bringing in a DB. But Randy, my counterpoint to Ken was, we got to go through Cleveland twice a year, 2 tight end team. There are Tennessee Titans out there, and other teams that are on our schedule that use tight ends like we do. So yeah, when we're playing Buffalo, they're putting receivers on the field. Even Kansas City, we look at them as a wide receiver heavy team.
Yeah.
They use their blocking tight ends too. So there will be times where we're going to need a bad mofo on the edge, like a Sam Williams, like a McPhee, to just set that heavy edge, because when the Nick Chubbs of the world come that way, you better be a physical force on that edge, or else he's going to make it a really long day on you.
I mean, you gotta respect their West Coast game, pass and run, So team, and when it gets colder, I would like to see us be able to, when we were winning a bunch of games, we were dictating the line of scrimmage. It was on our terms.
On both sides.
On both sides of the ball. That was not the case last year.
That's right.
And that's why we didn't go anywhere, because we could not control the tempo of the game at the line of scrimmage at all. It was what people did, whatever they wanted. It felt like, as a Ravens fan, it felt like we did well for other fan bases, but it's only a few select fan bases that standards is like, we are supposed to be the bully. And I refuse to. And so, I don't even want to get into that. But
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. We're both been around the Ravens long enough that it's just, it sticks out.
Mouth.
I mean, Randy, I talk to people. I've been fortunate enough and blessed from this platform to talk to people from other countries, even, or people from other parts of this country. And why are they Ravens fans, Randy? Because what you just said.
Yeah.
The Haitian sensation was just on here a couple of days ago. If you know him by his handle, Winslow. And our guy Winslow, he was saying, man, I saw Ray Lewis at however years old he was at the time. He's still a young buck. And he said he asked his dad, who's that guy? And, they see Ed Reed and just, the Ravens versus the Patriots back in the day, where we were the only ones that, how could you beat them? Only way to beat them is to beat them up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we're a little spoiled. Maybe we're a little biased on that, Randy.
What do they say?
We like big bad players, bro. And by the way, so does Eric DeCosta. So does Ozzie Newsome. They like it too. It's not just us wanting it.
What do they say? Everyone has a plan until we hit them in that mouth. So they can KC can get cute. Buffalo to me is, I respect the hell out of. I respect Buffalo a little more than KC, because they some dogs too. They play Buffalo plays a brand of football that I respect, because it kind of mimics us. Like, even with their big 260-pound quarterback, like they want to get physical with you as well. So
see, I'm splitting with you on that. So don't come at me in the comments, viewers. That's a finesse team that can't run the damn ball, and that was their downfall the last couple of years.
Well, they want to, but I feel like Sean McDermott wants to run the ball.
Think he's going to change that this year?
And Brian Daboll is gone, so we'll see who. But in that environment, in that weather,
it would help them.
I mean, their edges are huge.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Both of their edges are huge. Tremont Edwards is like 6'7". Both of their safeties are really good in the box enforcers, but also are good on the back end. Like, they're just like really physically imposing. They are very physically imposing on both sides of the ball. I feel like Deion Dawkins is a huge guy. But I'm saying, say Buffalo drafts Breece Hall.
Would be a good move. It would be a good move, because, like, what happened with the Steelers last year, Randy, it would force them to run the ball more. Like, did this intimidate you by any chance? You scared of these hands?
Not through the screen.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm sorry to throw in my dad jokes there, but Randy, on the Buffalo Bills, obviously we talking about, but this is barbecue, so things are going to go off with. I think they're physical on defense, but I think they do themselves a disservice by throwing the ball too darn much and going through playoff games with 9 carries. Mm-hmm. You got Zach Moss. You got Zach Moss, man, in the backfield. You want to pound somebody.
He's a jag. He's a jag.
Yeah, you're not a big Zach Moss fan.
He's a jag. He's just
Randy,
another guy.
Here we are at the 50-minute mark, bro. So it is time for me to ask you final thoughts. Don't have to be on any of the players. Like, what are you thinking about draft day? What's the strategy? Open floor to you, sir.
So I'm gonna, since we did some deep dives, Daniel Bellinger, my perfect scenario for the Ravens is that Kayvon Thibodeau falls to 14. But the two players that I would like to see in a Ravens uniform is Kayvon Thibodeau, because he's a top 5 pick. Period. You don't find guys like him in the 4th and 5th round. Very explosive, bendy off the edge, maybe a little slight in his frame. I think he could. I think some scouts and stuff probably would like to see him a little bigger, honestly. But very dynamic. He's a Ray Lewis fan, just like most of us, that grew up watching dominant football. But I just like that he can get to the quarterback, and when he gets there, he's very he's there, and I like that he finishes plays. I don't get the talk around him.
So Randy, I'm going to interrupt you here because I learned something new on from Peter King and Peter Schrager, I think it was, where they got into it. Basically, when he's going into these interviews, he's talking about, well, I kind of want to play here because of my brand, and I'm thinking about building the brand this way and that way. So this ain't a dude running around like getting into trouble.
Yeah,
he's just a different thinker. So that's going to turn some of these old school guys from, they were talking about maybe he retire early type of guy, like a Ali Marpet or a John Urschel or something like that, where he's got other interests and stuff. So go ahead, man. What about Kayvon though?
No, that's a good point. I've heard that recently, but just based off of prior to all these other players coming out of anywhere, it was Kayvon Thibodeau, and the next guy that I would prefer, Derek Stingley. Okay. So these are the guys that in any other draft, considering where we usually pick, we would never get a chance at.
That's right.
Never. So of the Jermaine Johnsons, and some people may like Jermaine Johnson, of the Jermaine Johnsons, the Jordan Davises, the Devontae Wyatt's,
all of those, that blue chip talent at a premium position.
All of those players are usually getting drafted between 10 and 15. The two guys I named are falling down draft boards or supposedly fell on draft boards for reasons I can't explain. A Liz Frank injury, I don't know. But then he did really well his pro day, so he may not get past the Jets. Who knows? The Jets may take Sauce and him. Who knows? But I hope that a quarterback goes. I don't know what your thoughts is on that, but my expectation, my hope is that we can come out of the first round with Derek Stingley, who played Jamar Chase really well in those videos we saw, or KT.
I love it. You're right. There's a difference between, no offense to Jermaine Johnson, I got him number 8 on my board, so I love him. But there's a difference in the pedigree. Jermaine Johnson wasn't coming out and dominating the ACC or SEC at age 18, 19. Kayvon Thibodeau's that same kind of 5-star blue chip guy. So the Ravens hardly, like you said, if the only way we're getting them is if we're paying for them, man, because we sure ain't drafting that in the top 5. And we won't be as long as Lamar Jackson is healthy and on this team. I mean, let's face it, Lamar can take any roster and you ain't drafting higher than 14. So Randy, I really appreciate the great conversation, man. Hopefully I didn't get too jabby or gabby on this one, because me and you are used to hour-long phone conversations.
Yeah.
And stuff. So we did good. I think we did well keeping it professional here, sir. What would be your opinion on that? Did we do okay?
Yeah, man, I loved it. I've watched all the ones prior, everyone before me. It's a lot of people that was hard to follow up, but like you said, football is family. We just trying to get these prospects lined up together so that when the draft happens, we are all prepared. No one's shocked when they take Trevor Penning. We've already,
All right, that's enough. That's enough for you, sir. That's enough for you, sir. That is enough.
With Trevor Penning.
Yeah, no, that was it. No, go ahead, man.
I mean, we just gotta look at him. I'm stressed. I'm sweating. Like we gotta accept the fact that Trevor Penning may be playing left guard for us, but that's okay because he'll be next to a healthy Ronnie Stanley.
Hey, how does that sound? You saw Coach Evans say that Penning would be a very good guard. Coach Evans, somebody I respect a lot. Yeah, he said let him down block and take on somebody's 1-techs and just let his nastiness take over and don't put his clunky feet in space, is basically what Coach was saying. But But with that, I'd like to say thank you to my football family. Love my football family. Hope you enjoyed Dolph over there. He will be back on the program for sure, looking all fly with a nice hat. He's got matching. Yeah, you got to get a lineup. He's got the beard. He's got the matching shirt, the buttons with the top button, I suppose, for the ladies. Yeah, no, hey. So with that, he's putting up the hoodie. J Boogie with the hoodie. So with that, I'm sorry for the ending out there, viewers, but thank you to my football family. I love my football family. Randy, say goodbye to people, bro.
All right, appreciate you guys for watching the episode of Football's Family, and I love all of the flock. Let's get it.
Let's get it.